Hello, my dear players. Today, we're going to be talking about because the power scaling video did well, we are going to be talking about something else that involves a bit of power scaling, which is going to be a versus battle. And it's going to be Madara, Final Valley Madara specifically, versus the 5 Kage. The 5 Kage that fought Edo Madara. The reason I thought I've wanted to mention this is because, I'm on r/Naruto a good bit on Reddit, and I, read through a lot of threads, and any time that I see Final Valley Madara versus the 5 Kage, a lot of people, not all, but a lot of people, seem to support this idea that the 5 Kage could win that fight. And I strongly disagree. And we'll cover why I think Final Valley Madara would win, personally. But before we get too deep into the details, please like and subscribe if you enjoy, and let's move forward. Now, I think we're going to need to cover some reasoning why I think people seem to think that they would win, and kind of cover some reasons. Reason one why some people, I think that 5 Kage would win is that the 5 Kage seem to do fairly well against Edo Madara up until the point that Madara pulled out the perfect Susanoo and all that crap. And I'll point out that I think that the only reason why they did well is because Madara let them do well. I think is the best way to put it. That there was no universe in which they were going to win the fight against Edo Madara. There was no universe in which they were ever going to make him sweat. Madara could have won that fight within the first minute if he wanted to, but chose not to because he wanted to play around a little bit. I think mostly just to kind of flex with the relatively new abilities he has thanks to his Edo body. And I think I don't even think I need to do much to prove that. Just based on the statements that Madara makes when he decides to beat the 5 Kage and just how he acts during that. And his whole statement of, why would I try my hardest against a bunch of children? I think it's abundantly apparent that Edo Madara was holding back a lot. Mostly because he just wanted to see what was possible with his new body. And moving on, beyond that, I think the second big reason, the biggest thing that I think, is that people presume that Edo Madara is stronger than Final Valley Madara, and that the strength difference between the two is great enough that Final Valley Madara is a fairer fight. No. And I will say, due to Madara having access to the Rinnegan and access to Wood Style, in a certain sense, Madara is stronger. Also due to the general benefits of reanimation, he is stronger in a certain sense. There are things that he can do, a lot of things that he can do while Edo that he could not do while he was alive, due to all these things. But I don't think that makes him stronger than Final Valley Madara. I think this might take me a little bit to fully explain, and I might fumble my words, so bear with me. For one, while we know that Madara was treated in a special manner, he was the only one who got to have kind of a unique body made for reanimation instead of, just brought back from how they were when they died. I still think that Madara's rules of being at roughly, whatever arbitrary number, like 80 to 90% of what his power was when he was alive, I think that still holds true, even for him. Sure, he has the added benefits of having, Wood Style and having the Rinnegan, which, he didn't have during the Final Valley. which makes him more formidable in a certain sense. But I do think that you could say his attack potency is still down by like 80 to 90%. And I think the best way to formulate this, the best way to try to explain it, is that if Edo Madara were to use just his perfect Susanoo against Final Valley Madara and his perfect Susanoo, then Edo Madara would get absolutely destroyed by Final Valley Madara, by that Susanoo. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but just comparing the strength of their Susanoos, Final Valley Madara's Susanoo, I think, would be stronger by anywhere from 10 to 20%, depending on how much of a nerf we think that reanimation has on someone. So with that in mind, while Final Valley Madara does not have wood style, he doesn't have wood clones, he doesn't have the forest devastation, it still would mean that all the base Uchiha shit that he has access to would be up in comparison to the Edo fight by anywhere from 10 to 20%. So that means all his fire style jutsu 10 to 20% stronger. All of his Susanoo stuff 10 to 20% stronger. His strength, speed, durability. Well, durability doesn't matter much, but strength and speed 10 to 20% higher. His Sharingan usage and how capable it is, how good the Genjutsu is, how all the benefits of a Sharingan 10 to 20% higher than it was in the Edo versus 5 Kage fight. And if you don't believe me, I think something that actually demonstrates this a bit is, now statements are not perfect in Naruto, especially in Naruto. Oh my gosh, but I do think that there is something to be said about Hashirama's statement when Madara is brought back with Renny Rebirth in the War Arc. Hashirama, when he gets Renny Rebirth, and there's this almost a sudden discrepancy, not discrepancy, but a sudden difference in how capable Madara seems to be. And, a lot of that is due to him getting access to Sage Chakra and all this stuff, but the statement that Hashirama makes before Madara gets access to Sage Chakra is that he states he has now achieved the power he had in life. That is to say that everything that Madara was able to do in the 5 Kage fight, throughout every instance that Edo Madara had fought up until this point, that Hashirama has gotten to know and see for himself to some degree, has been lacking in some significant sense compared to what he was capable of when he was alive. Thus, Madara is facing the same kind of nerf that all these other reanimations are facing. He just has the additional benefit of wood style and Rinnegan. So Final Valley Madara is not automatically an easier fight than Edo Madara. In argument, this could be a much harder fight, because the statement that I would give, the way I would evaluate this, is that the only reason why Edo Madara played around with them is simply because he wanted to know how far that he could go with his Edo body and the adjustments to it. But in a fight between the 5 Kage and Final Valley, I don't think that would be the case. I think the scenario would be one in which Final Valley Madara is just okay, 5 obstacles in my way, get rid of them. No playing around. Just let's spank the children, make them go away. And that's the mindset that I think he would come at this with. Thus meaning that there isn't going to be this playing around period before he decides to end the fight. It's going to be, I'm going to end the fight as immediately soon as I can, in my opinion. So, Madara would just, okay, whatever it takes to beat the 5 Kage, he will do. And he might be wrong in his estimation at first, thus extending the fight a bit. But I think he'll just analyze what it takes to beat them and then do that. And I don't think it would be hard for him to do that at all. The only, now, thankfully, they do have some win, the 5 Kage do have some win conditions. Well, actually one. The one win condition that they have is Inoki. And that's it. Their win condition is particle style. That's what it is. That's what they got. If they can get Madara's body in the fucking particle style cube, they win. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think what's going to happen is that they'll attempt all kinds of strategy like they did in the fight against Madara. They'll attempt all kinds of things, but Madara's not going to be playing around. He's going to take each of them out as quickly as possible. He's going to do what I think is the most efficient manner. He's going to probably pick out Inoki first and go, okay, old man, you gotta go. And focus him down. And I don't think Inoki has long for this world when that happens. And then as soon as he kills Inoki, their win condition is gone, and also like one of their main supports would be gone, and then the team is falling apart from there. I just don't think that they can do anything about it after that point. Like, to try and like put it in like terms, I think that I just think they're screwed. And another thing, I'm sorry if I seem a little disconnected. My thoughts on this are plentiful and difficult to articulate and organize. But another thing that I see people can have a discussion about is whether Madara should be allowed to use Kurama. Now, I don't think Madara needs Kurama to win. As like everything I've said, it doesn't relate to Kurama at all. But I would like to make the point that I think that Madara should be allowed to use Kurama under the same reasoning that we might allow Jiraiya to summon Ma and Pa, and the same reasoning that we might allow the animal path of the 6 Paths of Pain to summon the animal summons, in the sense that at this point in the final valley with Madara's life, summoning and controlling Kurama is a strategy, it's something that Madara can do, like just as a big move that he can do. It's something that he pulled against Hashirama, not like casual, but like this is a plan that he had and that he could execute, something he could do, something that he had access to in the final valley. And I think unless you're willing to restrict in other versus battles under different conditions, unless you're willing to restrict like Jiraiya's access to Ma and Pa or Pain's access to the animal path, I think you kind of have to let Madara have access to Kurama as a summon, because like summons are an extension of the user. Like, it may be shitty how he got access to Kurama, but I think it kind of violates a certain like principle to not let him have it. And the only reason why I've been talking around it is mostly just because I don't think he needs Kurama to win. Thus, I haven't really made any arguments around him, because I think we pretty much all agree that if we allow Madara to use Kurama, then he wins. Unquestionably. I don't think that there is a single scenario where the 5 Kage win against Final Valley Madara summoning Kurama. But I just wanted to make sure that it was clear that I think Madara, if you're going to use Final Valley Madara in the conversation in any versus battle, I think you should let him have access to to the summon that he put in the effort and time to have, even if it's shitty that he has it. But yeah, overall, I'd say that with Kurama, Madara wins 10 out of 10 times, no question. But without Kurama, things are less easy. I think he still has it in the bag, but I think it opens it up a little bit, where I think there's like 9 times out of 10 Madara wins, and there's like 1 time out of 10 that they do manage to trap Madara in the particle style and kill him. I do think there's like a chance of that happening. I don't think it's impossible. But yeah, that's kind of like the way I'd estimate the fight under like these kind of conditions. And I'm sorry, a little sporadic. This is the first time I've ever done a versus battle, so forgive me if it's not that structured or that as professional as other people who have been doing this a lot longer than me. So yeah, I'm sorry for not talking more about like the individual capabilities of the 5 Kage or Madara. Again, first time doing this. Actually, another thing I just thought about. We know that, with wood clones, that Madara can do like each wood clone has individual Susanos. Madara can use the shadow clone jutsu. That's a thing we know how he can do, and he's fairly competent with it, because apparently he was able to make a clone that replaced his corpse. I'm pretty sure that's a thing. I'll have to research that and put it in post. But yeah, that's something else. We could have shadow clones of Madara appearing, and even if they can't, have their own Susanos, which I don't see a particular reason why they can't. Maybe someone else has like a theory on why they can't, but yeah, I don't see a reason if wood clones can, unless wood clones are special. They might be. But even without them having Susanoo, just even one shadow clone of Madara immediately makes him so much more dangerous. But I didn't really count that, because even though he does know how to use it, we know he knows how to use it, shadow clones don't seem to be like a regular part of his moveset, because he never used it against Hashirama, and it's quite possible that the only reason why he used wood clones against the 5 Kage is just because he wanted to experiment with them. I don't think that it's... So, I don't think like using clone jutsu is a thing that Madara really uses much. So, even though that's like relevant, that like you could create a shadow clone, that could be a big problem. I didn't really count it in the fight, just because he doesn't seem to want to use them. Yeah. I'm just kind of rambling, just kind of like thinking of other things to bring up. You can tell I don't script these. But yeah, Final Valley Madara stomps 5 Kage. If there is a different version of this fight that you'd like to see, like instead of the 5, like me putting a live Madara up against some other things, let's see. We can do an examination and see how it goes. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll talk to you next time. Like, share, and subscribe.